the truth behind Kyiv Children's Hospital attack. This is what we're gonna talk about today. And not just about the hospital attack, in general about Russia's massive missile attack on Ukraine on July 8, 2024. This is important to discuss, and I want to preserve it for the history and disprove several propaganda myths about it and make the truth available for everyone. Hello there, I'm Elena. Welcome to my channel, Enough of Propaganda. Please help me to spread the truth and stop that propaganda lies about everything, especially about the war in Ukraine. These pictures spread around the world like a wildfire. This is the missile attack by Russia on the hospital, children's hospital in Ukraine. And not just a hospital. This is, for different sources, either biggest hospital in Western Europe or in Europe in general. And definitely biggest in Ukraine. Where the children with cancer, with difficult and hard to fix and sometimes impossible to fix disease were treated. But this is not the only thing what happened on that day. Even according to Wikipedia, on July 8, 2024, there were missile strikes on Ukraine. And several cities, Kiev, Kryvyi Rih, Dnipro, Kropivnitsky and Pokrovsk, came under the fire from more than 40 missiles of the Russian military. In total, at least 47 people were killed and 170 were injured. And in Kiev, strike damaged residential buildings, infrastructure, and children's hospital called Okhmadet killed 2 adults at the time, and lots of other places were hit. And this is one of the most horrible attacks during the war. Overall in Kiev, 33 people were killed, including 5 children and 121 were injured. 10 of them children, according to officials. Kryvyi Rih, 10 people killed, 53 injured. Dnipro, high-rise building was hit, killing 1 person and injuring 12 others. Pokrovsk, 3 people were killed, and 3 others were injured. According to Anton Gerashchenko, our hospital is the largest children's hospital in Europe. More than 600 children are treated here every day. It is here that children find hope for health, hope for life. And it is this institution that was hit by a Russian missile today. He's talking about July 8, 2024. I'm tired of saying Russia is a terrorist country. This is a future proof that Russia should not exist as a country. And you're welcome to watch by yourself the speech by Okhmadet CEO Vladimir Zhavnir. That's what he was saying. According to him, all utility lines have been destroyed. No light and water. Missile completely destroyed the toxicology building and damaged 4 more. 10 surgery units, 5 oncology units, 2 somatic units, an intensive care unit, 2 critical care units, operating suites, radiology and radiotherapy unit, and part of only oncohematology laboratory in the country were damaged. The only one in the country. So this is what happened. Sick children were sitting on the streets with their parents, and they were transported to different hospitals, of course. But this strike is just one of the barbaric actions, one of the horrific sights to see, but we all need to see that. We cannot turn our face away. And me as a Russian Canadian, I can't either. This is deeply upsetting and horrible. According to Wikipedia, up to 18,000 children are treated in the hospitals, 720 beds every year, and about 20,000 receive emergency care at the hospital's trauma center. Hospital performs about 7,000 operations annually, and all types of surgical interventions except for cardiac surgery. So this is big. Definitely largest hospital in Ukraine. Now, over 60% of the facility was destroyed. At the time of the missile attack, there were more than 600 patients and at least as many medical workers in Okhmadet. About 100 patients were transferred to other medical institutions in Kiev, National Cancer Institute, and some others. On the next day, on July 9th, several ambassadors came from different countries to see the destroyed hospital. This is what Ole Egberg Mikkelsen has to say.
I'm the ambassador of Denmark, and I'm outside the Ahmed Children's Hospital in a peaceful residential neighborhood not so far from the embassy. As you can see behind me, the building is badly damaged as it has been hit by Russian missiles.
What upsets me deeply is that Russia keep lying about stuff like that and shove in the throat of people their propaganda narratives, made up, absolutely baseless, especially when there are iron proofs, video proofs, sound proofs, and a whole bunch of other proofs which I'll show you today, proving them wrong, proving that they are lying. And nevertheless, they continue lying, and despite all that horror, I want to tell you a Russian joke, because this joke literally explains how Russian propaganda works. My channel called Enough of Propaganda. That is why I'm putting that much attention to this. Russian husband, in the joke, is cheating on his wife. He actually had a meeting, or let's say meeting, with his secretary and spent night with her in the hotel. So the next day, he coming home, and the wife asking where he have been, why he didn't come home last night. Guess what he answered? I have been in a library. Well, all night? Library is closed at night. I have been in the library. Well, my friend, who is working in the hotel, let's say Moscow, saw you entering the hotel with your secretary last evening at 7 o'clock. I have been in the library. My friend took a picture of you in bed with your secretary last night, dear. Darling, relax about this. I have been in the library. There is no reason to worry about it. And he kept going on and on and on. The only response he gives, no matter what proofs, she putting pictures on the table, printed out. This is not true. I have been in the library. This joke clearly represents Russian propaganda. No matter what, they have been in the library. This is exactly what is happening. Russia is continue lying about this and providing all kind of disinformation and keep repeating itself. It keep repeating, no, it's not us. No, this was this. Or even if it was us, there was military targets. Oh, it wasn't even us. Yet they admitting the strike on Kiev. They admitting that they hit all the targets they intend to. And they continue lying and continue saying that they have been in a library. That they, oh, Ukraine did it. Oh, it was their missile of this and that. It was air defense. It was this, it was that. Let's look closely on that. This article is in Medusa. Bellingcat analysts believe that the attack on the children's hospital in Kiev was carried out by the Russian Ha-101 cruise missile. They confirmed their conclusions using a 3D model. We will go straight to the source, to the Bellingcat. I was watching Bellingcat for at least over 10 years now, so during the whole war in Ukraine. And this is a highly reliable source of information, and they do really good investigations and so on. In this article, Russian missile identified in Kiev Children's Hospital attack. It is done by Michael Sheldon, Giancarlo Fiorella, Jake Godin, and Carlos Gonzalez. Basically, analysts of open source evidence as well as missile experts have pointed to a Russian-launched Ha-101 cruise missile being the weapon that struck a children's hospital in Kiev, debunking claims from pro-Russian accounts and actors that denied responsibility and sought to shift the blame for the incident onto Ukraine. Several analyses were conducted. You can read the article yourself, and I just want to show you a few things. Partly, it was analysts from Bellingcat. Partly, the analysts is some experts, including Fabian Hoffman, doctoral research fellow at the University of Oslo, who specializes in missile technology. They basically showed the whole video about how it all happened. And this is what it is. Right now will be the moment with the missile. See that? Several things here as a proofs. Highly visible TRDD-58 turbofan engine in the rear section. Two relatively long wings midsection and blunted nose top section. Basically, the analysts from Bellingcat really cleared the image, and you could clearly see what it is. Another expert is Dr. Jeffrey Lewis, nuclear weapons and missile expert at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey in California. Similarly concluded in an email to Bellingcat that Ha-101 missile could be seen in footage of the attack posted to social media sites. Bellingcat also tested an alternative theory floated online that it was US-made AIM-120, but found no evidence to this, and no evidence to any other missiles and so on. They literally investigated the whole image and compared it to Russian missile, and at the same time compared it to the different other missiles which Russia claims it was air defense missiles and so on. Also, there are pieces of the missile was found and presented by Ukraine, and they were investigated by Bellingcat as well. The same pictures from different sources, different reliable sources, with the same people and the same pieces of debris, proving that these pieces of debris found wherever they were found, at the place of the bombing of the hospital, and so on. And comparing AIM-120 and Russian missile Ha-101. So you're welcome to read the whole investigation and so on. And the hospital wasn't the only target, but to prove this, in this case, I used it on purpose because this is a really clearly proven Russian fault. Watching the video, you could see that no debris falling out, missiles just flying. Nothing stopped it. It hit the target what it was intended to hit, the hospital. And this is not the only hospital. At the same time, Russia hit maternity hospital, private one in Kiev as well, or somewhere nearby. And a lot of hospitals. This is Russian tactics. This is Russia was doing in Syria. This is Russia is doing in Ukraine for a while. In all the 2 years of the war, this is what Russia was doing, to destroy hospitals and to create terror in Ukrainians, partly so they either give up or they just run away to Europe and flood Europe with refugees. Many other experts and YouTubers show the proofs of different things, proving what I just said, that it was Russian missile which deliberately hit Ukrainian children's hospital. This is channel Warthog Defense. You are familiar with this channel if you're watching me long enough, and they have a video about this as well. One of the reliable sources on Twitter, which is highly unreliable social media, but this is a reliable source, Chuck Farrer. You're also familiar with him if you're watching my channel long enough. He is saying exactly the same thing. The same thing proven by Ryan Macbeth. And Jake Bro said exactly the same thing. So all the reliable sources, which I know and follow for many years, some of them at least 2 years, they all proving this. You're welcome to watch it for yourself and find out the truth. This channel is saying also the right thing. This is a part of a deliberate strategy aimed at forcing Ukrainian civilian society into submission. This strategy is coupled with the systematic destruction of the country's energy infrastructure. The approach is clear: deprive a modern industrialized society of essential services like electricity, internet, and healthcare, while instilling fear for the future of children. This generated social pressure is intended to push Ukrainian leadership into negotiations from a weakened position, allowing Russia to secure the most advantageous terms. The only way to stop this is to ensure that consequences of such attacks outweigh any perceived benefits. The reality is that Ukrainian society is unwilling to submit, while Western support is insufficient to hold these attacks. The attacks will continue because there are no negative consequences for Russia in carrying them out. I can't say it better than that. There are no negative consequences enough for Russia. And there is not enough support, not enough air defense and so on. In this point, I agree with General Hodges, who said it's easier to kill the shooter who is shooting arrows, archer, than catch every arrow he is shooting. That is why Ukraine should be able to strike Russian air bases, where the planes who flying and who is attacking these civilian cities in Ukraine coming from. This is the best way and easiest way to stop these attacks. And Ukraine need to be allowed to do that. Besides, United States Congress and Senate, they didn't put those restrictions on Ukraine. This was the doing of the present administration, which is usually Biden and his administration helpful to Ukraine, and they really doing a lot for Ukraine. But in this particular case, in my opinion, they're doing a big mistake by not trying to keep forcing Ukraine to fight with hands tied behind Ukraine's back. This is not the right thing to do. We need to remember that in missiles which hit Ukrainian hospital, they were new missiles. They was built after the war started in full-scale invasion started in 2022. And there are parts and components of these missiles which Russia couldn't get anywhere else but several foreign countries. Include United States, include some countries from Europe, and so on, and this has to stop. Nothing more simpler than put in jail the CEOs of the companies if their components ended up in Russia. That will quickly make sure that they really doing their job to find out where the components are going to. And they go into China, and from China they go into Russia, and several countries are helping Russia to do those horrific attacks. And meanwhile, lots of different leaders of different countries, or French foreign minister called attack barbaric, and Italy, Germany, United States, Britain, Czech Republic, and several other countries condemning the attack. Meanwhile, Indian Prime Minister Modi not only went to Russia after that. This is what happened. This is Jake Bro's channel. Oh, how nice to hug the mass murderer and killer of the children and the international criminal, wanted by International Criminal Court. Good one, India. Perhaps India and China are supposed to suffer some consequences for supporting Russia. Meanwhile, Russia is still leading in the United Nations and dare to spread its propaganda in the United Nations all over the world. When Soviet Union attacked Finland and so on, Soviet Union was kicked out of League of Nations. Meanwhile, Russia is still in the United Nations. I can't believe this happening these days, this day and age. And people and bureaucrats in the United Nations are still sitting with them at the same table, shaking their hands, and allow them to be leaders in the United Nations, as well as European Union allow Putin's puppet Viktor Orban to be a leader in European Union. And preventing NATO from doing more help and constantly pushing Putin's propaganda. There is no way to stop Putin by negotiations and this and that. Russian economy is in very bad shape. Russia cannot stop the war. Putin will not do that. Period. All he wants just to have a ceasefire, bring more troops, and kill more Russians and more Ukrainians in the battlefield. This is what he wants. And everybody who is not supporting Ukraine is being on the side of Putin. There is no, with hits like that on the children's hospital, there is no middle ground here. Putin did it in Chechnya, Putin did it in Syria, Putin did it in Georgia, Putin did it in Ukraine for over 10 years now. And especially when situations like that happens, you can't be in the middle ground. You can't be in between. By being in between, you're supporting the aggressor. Everybody choosing their side even when they try not to choose their side. Right now, I seen that there is some letter signed by Nobel Prize winners and so on, and even Muratov, by the sound of it, from Russia, signed it. This is just insane. It's like there is a victim and there is an aggressor. This war is not a typical war. This is very clear case when there is a country, aggressor country, terrorist country, Russia, who attacked Ukraine for no reason whatsoever but Putin's imperial ambitions. And there is a victim here. It's like big guy coming on the street and started to attack and brutally beat up the little guy. If you're not helping the little guy and if you're not calling the police, you're supporting the big guy. This is what Putin wants. So people didn't do anything. People said, well, we shouldn't probably interfere. We shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do that. This is exactly what he wants. By not supporting the victim, we're helping the aggressor. And encouraging the aggressor to do more and attack more. And this is what's gonna happen. Unless we stop Putin and help Ukraine to stop Putin, who is heroically fighting to stop Putin. And by the price of the lives of Ukrainians, they want us time to be able to be prepared to stop Putin. We either stop him or he will go further. And for that, peaceful Ukrainians and Ukrainian army people are getting killed every single day by Putin. Russian soldiers dying too. And only in the last little time, like months and several months, it's the biggest losses of Russia since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Putin is trying to grab as much territory as possible at no matter what cost because he hopes that in November in the United States, Trump will win the election. I hope this will not happen. In the democratic way. Whatever happened right now in the United States, an attack on Trump, is unacceptable. I condemning it, and we have to wait until all the facts will be known. So many conspiracy theories and this and that. He should be defeated at the ballot boxes. And I hope Americans are smart enough to do so. This is posted by Johnny Ascola, and I agree with him. Masters of genocide. Russia claims to be liberating Ukraine while bombing its children's hospital. Yesterday, war crimes served as a stark example of Russia's approach to negotiations and served as a reminder of why no negotiations with Putin are feasible. We in Canada support Ukraine. There are people in Kelowna, from Kelowna Stands with Ukraine group, had a meeting, and this meeting is in Vernon, British Columbia, which I attended, where we demanded help to Ukraine and talked about that attack on the hospital. Our rally experienced something incredible. A Scottish bagpipe band that was practicing in a park suddenly started to play the Ukrainian anthem when they saw us. Please help Ukraine stop Putin. Learn the truth and stay informed. Thank you for watching and have a great day.